There is a ton of support out tonight in Hamilton for Ted Gavaya. Everyone is on Team Ted. Unfortunately, the Ticats GM lost his battle with cancer earlier today, so an already special night has some added meaning. It will be an emotional evening in Hamilton. Friday night football doubleheader coming your way. Gavaya has ties to both of these teams. He was part of the architect that made up the Grey Cup winning teams in Winnipeg back in 2019 and 2021. We'll be honoring him all night long here on TSN as well as in Hamilton. Laura Dykin, Enoch Mwamba, Davis Sanchez, as well as Milt Stiegel. So we have the Bombers and the Ticats on deck here. Our second game of the doubleheader out west between the Lions and the Red Blacks. But let's get into this matchup here right now. Key matchup that you're keeping an eye on here tonight, Milt.
It's Chris Streveler against himself. And I say that because Chris Streveler is not a QB. He's a GB. He's a grind back. And if he has an opportunity to make those grind back plays, they have an opportunity to win this game. The thing this team can't do, they can't get down. They can't get down early and think they have a chance to come back, because that's not Chris Streveler's style of play. But if they can stay close and he can make some of those grind plays and they can get Brady Oliveira involved, they have a chance. But if not, they don't have a chance against this Hamilton Tiger Cat and this high-powered offense.
Hey, remember, he started the first game of the season for this team in Week 2 against the BC Lions. Chris Streveler did, and he averaged over 11 yards a reception or a pass. So he has the ability to get the ball down the field, to be an accurate passer at times, because I know people doubt that, or that's one of the things that negative they talk about Chris Streveler. I say this: if they can throw the ball off first down, that's their best chance to success. Forget the first down runs to Brady. Surprise that defense by getting play action and take the deep shots.
Yeah, they not only have to stay close, Milt, tonight, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, they also have to have a quick start. And if they don't, they're going to be seeing a lot of Greg Bell tonight. And he had a big game last week. And if Bo Levi Mitchell, who's thrown the most touchdowns in the CFL right now with 24, if he gets out and gets a quick start, Greg Bell is going to have another game tonight, and it's going to be tough for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Both these teams are playing for Ted tonight. We'll get you off to Hamilton Stadium. Before kickoff, they are honoring him with a moment of silence.
Hamilton, this morning we learned of the passing of our general manager, Ted Gavaya. We will be honoring his incredible contributions to Canadian football at the end of the first quarter. At this time, we ask for you to stand if you are able, and please join us in a moment of silence in his memory.
Gavaya called being the GM of Hamilton his dream job. He grew up cheering and loving the Ticats. And for all of us here at the CFL on TSN, our deepest condolences going out to Ted's family, friends, and all who loved him. Ted Gavaya was just 55 years old. Jody Schrabat of Edmonton, Alberta. This is your chance to win big thanks to Save on Foods' $1 Million Touchdown to Win. If a kickoff is returned for a TD, you could win groceries for a year. If 2 are returned in this game, you could also win $1 million. Good luck to you, Jody, as we turn things over to Rod Smith and Dwayne Ford.
Thank you, Laura, and welcome to Hamilton on a very nice mid-September Friday night for the first meeting of the season between the Tiger Cats and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Two teams very much a part of the football legacy of Hamilton General Manager Ted Gavaya, who you probably heard sadly passed away this morning after a long battle with cancer. I mean, you talk to people about Ted Gavaya, his passion for Canadian football. You can just imagine how passionate he would be about this game tonight.
Well, no question about that. So many players in this game whose paths to the Canadian Football League were shaped by Ted Gavaya. A guy who has touched every level of football in this country, amateur and professional. I don't know of anyone in the world of football who had the opportunity to work with Ted, who just didn't speak glowingly about both the man and his abilities in player personnel.
You saw that embrace between Scott Milanovich and Mike O'Shea, the head coaches for this game tonight. They, of course, were together along with Ted Gavaya with the Toronto Argonauts winning the Grey Cup in 2012. Milanovic's head coach, O'Shea, as an assistant. Ted Gavaya in the front office of the Argos before coaching collegiately on several occasions, and also with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, winning a couple of Grey Cups there, becoming the general manager at Hamilton this year, and sadly passing away. Our condolences. The Ted family and friends. He wants it to be about football, and this game is underway. It is Trey Babel for Winnipeg. The Bombers winning the toss, wanting the ball to start. As Babel is set and tackled there up across the 30 after a 15-yard return. Chris Strevler, with the injury to Zach Collaros last week against the Riders, will make his third start of the season.
Yeah, and Chris Strevler, as you heard Milt Stiegel mention, obviously brings a little bit of a different dynamic to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers offense, but nonetheless an experienced veteran quarterback in the Canadian Football League, a guy who's well prepared for this situation.
Collaros injured and out after being hit by C.J. Rivas on a blitz last week in the Banjo Bowl. Strevler won in week 2, the Bombers opener against BC, and again in week 9, getting the start in Winnipeg against the Toronto Argonauts. Here he is in Hamilton, getting the start on a first down, and working there with Brady Oliveira. Gets the carry. You see a lot of that, as they'll decide to either give it to Oliveira. Strevler may carry it himself. A look at the Bombers' offense for this one.
Yeah, an offense that includes the team's most veteran offensive player, right guard Pat Neufeld, and Ontario Wilson, 89 receiving yards last week on 5 catches, made a seamless return to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers lineup.
Brady Oliveira got 4. It's a 2nd and 6. Opening possession in this Friday night game. Throwing his Strevler. It is caught to Ontario Wilson. Second game back with Winnipeg, and has a first down for the Bombers up near their 50. Wilson had 5 catches last week in his first game back against Saskatchewan.
Yeah, and Wilson certainly a welcome sight for Blue Bombers fans back in blue and gold, with both Dalton Schoen and Jarrett Stearns going on the injured list in recent weeks.
He had 5 catches last week for 89 yards and a touchdown in that Banjo Bowl loss in Winnipeg to the Rough Riders. So here we go on the first down. It's intercepted. Jamal Peters has it. Taking off towards the end zone, and he is finally caught inside the 10. It's Carrick Wheatfall catching up to him. But Peters, with his 5th interception of the season, has set up Hamilton on that turnover to start the game. First and goal.
Well, this is an absolutely ridiculous play in terms of a player anticipating what's coming and getting there to make a play on the football. Jamal Peters just jumping that hitch, making the break inside. As you can see, he's already further upfield than the Bombers receiver. Wheatfall actually had to reach back to the line of scrimmage to make that interception.
Setting up boldly by Mitchell in the offense. Deep in the Bombers zone at the 7. First and goal. Throws it off to the right. Caught. Touchdown. One play is all it took. And it's Greg Bell, who had a career highlight game last week in Montreal, getting things started here. And a big defensive play, and just one play from scrimmage from Mitchell and the Ticats offense. They make Strevler and Winnipeg pay.
Yeah, you're going to see Flo gets going this way. As you're going to see the fullback Leatre motion, Greg Bell is just going to have off the fake a free release into the flat the other way. Breaks a tackle, makes his way in to open the scoring.
Just barely into this game now. A couple minutes in. The pick, and then one play on offense into the end zone. Mark Leggio, the point after, is good, and the late flag comes out as well. Greg Bell. What a day he had. Over 150 yards rushing last week in that victory over the Alouettes. And a great start here. Catches that short one. Takes it in. 7-0 Ticats lead.
Greg Bell had the big game, Rod, as you mentioned, last week against the Montreal Alouettes, and seems to be picking up right where he left off. the interception on the intended hitch pass. Sets the offense up in close. Little misdirection, a broken tackle from Bell, and the Ticats very quickly find themselves up 7-0 in the ballgame.
Set up by Peters. As mentioned, his 5th interception of the season, and then Bell breaking a tackle at the 5, taking it in. So we'll do it over again. Bombers with the ball in the kickoff. This time down 7. Babel again, and gets it barely across the 30. So Chris Strebler, 3rd start of the season, and Winnipeg in a bit of shock here, coming onto the field again after that pass was intercepted on their first possession by Peters.
And the big key for Winnipeg here is to not let one mistake be compounded by a second and a third. Bounce back, big response here. After, remember, Winnipeg won the coin toss and took the football. This is not how they envisioned the game starting at all when they made that choice.
Completely opposite to the way their game started against the Riders in Labor Day and the Banjo Bowl last week, when they had early 10-point leads and then saw the opposition come back. This time they're in a hole, and it's Oliveira finding a hole, and a good run for Brady. Oliveira even turned around, keeps those legs pumping, and gets a first down on the ground. 14-yard pickup for Oliveira.
Yeah, terrific run there. The Bombers' second possession to get things going. Good look here, double team on the nose. Brady presses at the point of attack, cuts it back off that, and he's into the secondary.
More productive game for him on the ground last week against the Riders. The week before, at only 5 carries for 24. First down play to throw to Oliveira now through the air. Another first down as it's Devin Verisuk tackling him just as he heads out of bounds, but not before he will move the sticks again, the Ticats defense.
Yeah, Casey Sales comes back into the lineup at defensive tackle after missing last week's game due to injury. The linebacking core, Devin Verisuk, proving to be a terrific find as the number 2 overall pick for the Hamilton Tiger Cats in this year's draft. And second-year man Destin Talbert started last season at the nickel linebacker spot as the Cats shuffled things around. He moved to the boundary half and has been a fixture there ever since, enjoying a terrific season here in 25.
Couple of plays for the Bombers, couple of first downs across midfield, and back to Oliveira again. Another run for him, another good pickup too as he works it down close to the Hamilton 45.
Yeah, Winnipeg obviously is a pretty good weapon to lean on here in Brady Oliveira as they look to regain some momentum in this football game. The league's most outstanding player, most outstanding Canadian a year ago, being featured heavily here in possession number 2 of the ballgame.
He had 20 carries for 83 yards last week in the loss in Winnipeg to the Riders in the Banjo Bowl. But a lot more productive as he is on this drive. Faking to him, and Strebler keeps it himself this time. A quarterback that's known to run. Needed about 4 yards to pick up the first down. Very close to it. They had to get to the Hamilton 41. Looks like Strebler is about a yard shy.
Yeah, and the Bombers trying to get things going quickly here as the Ticats are making substitutions.
And throwing and wide open on the 3rd and short. They caught the Ticats unprepared. And flags down on the field, though, as they try to quickly get that one off to Carrick Wheatfall. The Ticats rushing to get on the field and ready for that play, and Strebler went ahead.
Yeah. There are 2 fouls against Hamilton. Offside. That penalty is declined. Too many players on the field by Winnipeg, by Hamilton. That penalty is declined. The result of the play is a touchdown.
So this time, Strebler catches the Ticats defense off guard, and the result is 6 points.
Yeah, and you see a number of Ticat players running on the field late. Winnipeg chooses that moment to go no huddle tempo as they line up, give a short yardage look. Hamilton's just scrambling to try and get a line. And clearly, the Bombers getting exactly the look they anticipate with a wide open receiver.
Castilla the point after. So how about that for Strevler and the Bombers offense? An interception in their first possession to set the Ticats up for a touchdown, but then they get the ball back. And Strevler quickly sees Wheatfall wide open. Takes it in for his 4th touchdown of the year. We got a 7-7 tie.
Well, Carrick Wheatfall with the big touchdown. He may not have an easier touchdown catch this season. As you can see, the Tiger Cats are trying to run some smaller bodies off, run some bigger bodies onto the field. Well, maybe needed one more small body to cover the receiver on the outside. Look at Wheatfall waving, letting his quarterback know he's wide open. And off to the races.
And caps off a 5-play, 79-yard drive in the wildest way, with Wheatfall just standing there uncovered as the Ticats scrambled in what was expected to be a short yardage run on that 3rd down. Phillip Brooks, new returner in his 2nd game with the Ticats on this one. Up across the 40. And a good one here for Brooks, who had one game with the BC Lions earlier this season. And as mentioned, this is game 2 with Hamilton. 41-yard return.
As Bo Levi Mitchell prepares to go to work, we talked a little bit about the run game for the Hamilton Tiger Cats and the production of Greg Bell against Montreal in Week 14. Bo Levi Mitchell in that ball game with a season-low 191 yards. But did run for a touchdown for the first time in a decade in that ball game.
And it's Bell now. Yeah, Bo showed some good footwork on that touchdown run back late in the first half in Montreal. And Bell, explosive day in behind this offensive line.
Yeah, an offensive line that includes the former Winnipeg Blue Bomber first-round pick in Liam Dobson, doing a fine job at right guard for the Tiger Cats. And as mentioned, Greg Bell, 156 yards for him, season high. Close to a season high in carries as well. As the Tiger Cats, everyone has talked about this high-powered, high-flying Tiger Cat passing attack, but they showed they can find different ways to get it done a week ago.
7-yard carry for Bell, 2nd and 3 back to him. And he works his way inside the Winnipeg 50, and that should be enough to move the sticks on a 1st down for the Ticats.
And get a look here at the line of scrimmage.
Greg Bell in his 2nd year with the Ticats, taking over that #1 running back spot. And where they marked him down is actually just a couple inches shy. So short yardage now. Jake Dolegala in, and Big Jake reaches right through the hole and just keeps going down to the 35. Dolegala was with the Bombers last year. In fact, was on their depth chart for the Grey Cup last November.
Yeah, and I love the execution on this one from Jake Dolegala. The patience, no forward movement initially, just kind of shuffles to his right, lets that blocking scheme develop, picks his gap, takes it north-south for a nice gain into Bomber territory.
He's been handling their short yardage plays at quarterback, 3rd in the depth, and behind Bo and Taylor Powell as well. Had a number of starts with the Saskatchewan Roughriders a couple of years ago. 1st and 10 from the Winnipeg 35. Back to Bell, left side. And not much doing there. They have him wrapped up just in behind the line of scrimmage. It's Jaden Woodby among those Bombers in on Bell, pushing him back.
And taking a look at this Bombers defense, Cam Lawson gets the start at defensive tackle tonight. Former Queens Gale, enjoying a fine season here for the Bombers. Kyrie Wilson, one of the unsung heroes, the Bombers defense, veteran linebacker, and Demario Houston making his return at the boundary corner spot for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
His last game for the Bombers was on this field 2 years ago in the Grey Cup against Montreal. It was with Calgary last year. Deep shot. Mitchell to the end zone. Coverage there, and Shamar Bridges one-on-one with Dexter Lawson. And Bridges wanted the flag. He does not get one. And a 3rd and 10 is coming up.
Yeah, essentially giving the big target. Bridges an opportunity in a jump ball situation. Dexter Lawson, the former Ticat, providing tight coverage on that one, running stride for stride with the Tiger Cat receiver.
A little bit of contact there, but Scott Milanovic with the challenge flag out and wants the replay center to take a look.
Hamilton is challenging the previous play for defensive pass interference by Winnipeg number 27. The play will be reviewed.
Well, live speed, game speed is one thing, and then you got the slow motion replay of what happened here.
Yeah, and we'll take a look. Little hand fighting going on here. Right hand. Watch that right hand comes up a little bit in the face mask area. You know, it almost looks like Lawson is kind of trying to grab the jersey, but I'm not sure that he actually did.
Dexter Lawson, as you mentioned, Dwayne, a former Ticat with the Cats in 23 and part of the 24 season before heading over to Winnipeg this year. Knows these parts well and just awaiting word from the command center and whether or not this is PI deep down at the goal line of the Bombers. Andre Proulx is the referee who has the decision from the replay center.
Upon further review by the replay center, the ruling on the field stands. There was no infraction for defensive pass interference.
Tiger Cat fans in stripes on this call and not liking what they just heard.
Yeah, and obviously, as you can see, some debate about what exactly went on with the right hand there for Lawson, but for me, from a let them play football point of view, I am comfortable with the call. Not that that makes Ticat fans any happier.
Probably not. It's outside the 42 for Mark Leggio. 4 for 4 last week against the Alouettes. And we'll call it 1 for 1 tonight. That is a perfect kick for Leggio. Tied for the lead in field goal percentage of the season with Sean White. 3 points on the board. Well, the last time Strevler had the ball, it turned out a lot better than the first time he had it. It was a Winnipeg touchdown. They're down 3 here in Hamilton. Strevler, this is his second year back in the CFL after several years away in the NFL. Made his first CFL start actually in his first ever CFL game to open up the season in 2018. But this is his record in 15 starts, Dwayne, getting his third one of this season tonight. Yeah, the thing that stands out is that 2-0 record this season. Chris Strevler finding a way to get it done when he's been pressed into action as he is tonight with the man on the left, Zach Collaros, out of the lineup. But good to see Zach out. He was in uniform and throwing in pregame today. Injured last week against Saskatchewan by the hit by C.J. Rivas. Well, here's Brady Oliveira. He got turned around and redirected, though. Ends up with another good pickup on the ground for Oliveira's. A little busier in this game for the Bombers.
Yeah, the Blue Bombers clearly committing to that ground game. You see that flow, getting some movement to that left side. Brady cutting it back as the Ticat defense flowed out of the picture.
Another good hole left side as he waltzes through that. Oliveira, another good pickup. A first down on the ground, Winnipeg, getting it over midfield into the Ticat zone. Down 3 after that field goal by Leggio.
Yeah, and I think when you look at this Winnipeg Blue Bomber offense, power running game with Brady Oliveira, and so many things that this creates in terms of counters and various options with the athleticism of Chris Strevler in that backfield as well.
Already 45 yards rushing, Oliveira, and there's his 6th carry of this game as he picks up about 4 more down to around the Hamilton 45.
And Brady Oliveira, no doubt, thrilled to have this heavy workload early. It's paying off for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Part 1 of a doubleheader on this Friday night. Later, it's Ottawa at BC, rematch from last week's game. Jason Hogan, first year as the offensive coordinator with Winnipeg, taking over from Buck Pierce. Throw Wilson in his second game back, covered there by Deshaun Amos, incomplete third down.
Yeah, long throw to get it out to the sidelines here. Nice break, but Amos able to close, make a little bit of contact, jarring the receiver Wilson as he tries to pull that one in.
So Jamison Sheehan, the punter, comes on. They're scrimmaging at the 45 instead of going for a 52-yarder against a breeze here in Hamilton. Always have to be mindful of the wind. Sheehan will punt, see if they can pin him deep. Brooks back forward at the 5. Phillip Brooks, after a 45-yard punt, gets it up to the 10. Last time the Ticats had the ball, they worked their way down the field, ended up with a field goal. Beautiful night here in the Hammer. Friday Night Football. We'll be back. Something you don't see every day, at least late in the career of Bo Levi Mitchell. He took off in Montreal. Couldn't find a receiver. Ends up in the end zone. Now, you don't imagine he's had a lot of rushing touchdowns. There was a time when he did, but it's been over 10 years. Actually, September 25th, 2015, so just shy of 10 years for Bo Levi Mitchell. All those days going by. But hey, we asked Scott Milanovic about it. He doesn't mind them. Thinking better that than just hang in the pocket and make a bad decision.
Well, that's it. This is a league in which at times you have to use your legs to extend plays. If the defense is giving you an opportunity to pick up a first down or even score a touchdown, you can't be afraid to make that decision.
By the way, he only threw for 191 yards, and they asked Milanovic about the game, and he was saying some people thought it was winning ugly, that one in the rain in Montreal. He thought it was beautiful to win differently with good defense, running the football they did with Greg Bell. Even though we're used to seeing Bo sling it for 400, different kind of game, but Milanovic was perfectly happy with it.
Yeah, different game plan, but still well executed.
So Mitchell and the Ticats with the ball deep in their zone. That is caught by Kenny Lawler. Up against his old team for the first time. Think of the great years Lawler had, making spectacular grabs in blue and gold and then taking his act to Hamilton. And by the way, it was Ted Gavaya who orchestrated that, made a call to Bo Levi Mitchell, asking him basically, would you be interested in Kenny Lawler? You can imagine what Mitchell said.
Yeah, I think the numbers that those two have generated in tandem this season for the Hamilton offense tell you exactly what Bo Levi Mitchell thought about adding Kenny Lawler to his receiving corps.
From the Hamilton 19. And trying to high point that one as Lawler has done it so many times. Can't hang on to that one, though, a little bit high with Dexter Lawson bearing down.
You mentioned Rod Winnipeg choosing to punt rather than attempt a long field goal, obviously looking to try and turn the field a little bit in this one, playing for field position. Got a good punt from Jamison Sheehan. But a big second down here. They look to shut down the Tiger Cats and maintain this field position advantage.
Here we go on a 2nd and 10. Hamilton 19. Mitchell steps up and manages to get it by Willie Jefferson and into the hands of Brendan O'Leary Orange. Not easy with big number 5 reaching back, but makes the most of it and picks up a Ticats first down.
Yeah, Brendan O'Leary Orange, one of the many former Winnipeg Blue Bombers who moved to the Hamilton Tiger Cats this season with general manager Ted Gavaya. O'Leary Orange, overshadowed obviously by some other prolific performances in that receiving corps, but has been a nice fit, adding some size to this group for the Ticats.
A lot of former Bombers on this Ticats team now coming over with Ted Gavaya. There's Tim White, veteran Ticat in his 5th season as he takes that pass and he works it up the 35.
Yeah, just a high percentage quick hitter there. Getting the ball in the hands of Tim White. Getting the veteran receiver involved a little bit here.
Well, I mentioned Ted Gavaya, of course. Team Ted, you see the shirts everywhere. We have them. This was a planned event as Ted was battling cancer and sadly passing away this morning. But there will be a ceremony after the first quarter. Stick around with us. We will not be going to break. We'll be going right down to the ceremony honoring the late Ted Gavaya. 2nd and 3. Hamilton 36 now. And running Bell. And he tries to work his way around Tony Jones, who is the 2nd leading tackler in the Canadian Football League. Didn't need much, but still didn't get enough. Got about 1.5 yards. They're about that distance shy of another first down.
On 3rd down in their own territory, the Ticats keep the offensive personnel on the field, and they're going to go for it.
See Antti Litre coming in. He's done short yardage before, but in his usual spot as a fullback tight end type of position as Mitchell stays in. It is 3rd and 2. Hamilton in their zone. And Litre steps in behind to take the snap. Trying to draw him offside by the looks of things. That ball is not snapped. That's what they were doing on the 3rd and 2. You saw Litre go into motion, and then I mentioned that position that he's been in before as a short yardage quarterback with Bo standing in behind him.
Timeout, please.
So, given the solid couple of yards that they needed in that circumstance, not a surprise to see the Ticats go that direction, not snapping the ball, just hoping they could get an easy one off the penalty.
Instead, they take the time count, so Nick Constantino stands back to punt this one away inside his 20. For the left-footed Australian to Trey Vavel, back for it at his 20, just inside. Vavel goes left. A 60-yard punt by Constantino, and he gets it up to the 34. And with more from field level, let's say hello to Matthew Shinetti.
Condolences on what you offered today, Rod. And when I spoke to Mike O'Shea and offered him my condolence, he said it wasn't my loss. It was a loss for the entirety of Canadian football, because Ted Gavaia's fingerprints are really everywhere at university level, at the professional level. And when you have someone like that, well, those places they reach back today, the Ticats, the Argos, the CFLPA, the CFL itself, all sharing their condolences about Ted Gavaia today. But when you were on the field before game, it wasn't sorrow. The shared jersey was Team Ted. Scott Milanovich spoke to the Ticats before the game, but they didn't want to share that message. You said it perfectly, Rod. Ted Gavaia wanted it to be about the game today. His legacy lives on. Amen, Ted. Rod.
Well put, Matthew. Thank you for that. And it's Winnipeg football. Ted Gavaia had been with the Bombers, as mentioned, for several years leading up to this one. I mean, he's from this area, Burlington kid who grew up adoring the Ticats, but what a contribution he made to the building of the Winnipeg roster.
Yeah, no question of that. As Mike O'Shea mentioned to us this week, they were hired at the same time in Winnipeg. Mike O'Shea coming on as the head coach, Ted Gavaia as an assistant general manager under Kyle Walters. But Ted, a gentleman with a wealth of experience in scouting football talent.
Last play, first quarter, and Oliveira on the screen, he slips. He had something going. He got it up across the 45 and enough for a first down. So the second quarter will begin with Winnipeg still with the football and trailing it by a score of 10-7. As mentioned early this morning, Ted Gavaia, the general manager of the Hamilton Tiger Cats, lost his battle with cancer at the age of 55. They had planned a Team Ted night even before this tragic news, and they are having a ceremony right now at 1/4 time to pay tribute to Ted Gavaia.
Ted's meant so much to the football community in Canada in general. You know, it's been the phone calls and the text messages and the emails I've got from so many people in this profession that I wouldn't have even thought of, that share stories about the impact Ted's had on them and had on the game. He's always been thinking about ways to give Canadian guys a shot, whether it be as players or whether it be as coaches or executives. He's used his position as an opportunity to elevate other people, and I think that speaks a lot to the man's character.
I just think he impacts lives by being himself. It really doesn't matter. You could have nothing on the agenda. You could be playing ping pong. He's going to stop and pick up a paddle and try to play. You're not going to walk by his office and have him not say, how you doing? I think sometimes people just impact your life by being who they are and listening and watching them work.
He knows football, but he knows people. And this is not always a people business. I think that's one of his greatest skills is being personable and understanding people. He really, I'm telling you, he understands people, like, on a different level. It makes him great at what he does.
Ted's always been a champion for Canadian football. I mean, he loves our style of game. He's always concerned about what players can do, what they can do for us, what they can do for the CFL, never about what they can't do.
I don't think the game's where it's at today in Canada if it isn't for the impact that Ted Gavaia's had on the game, and I think that's a real legacy.
Hamilton. Tonight we gather to honor and remember our general manager, Ted Gavaia. At this time, we invite everyone to rise if you're able. Take your Team Ted rally towel and hold it high. For decades, Ted devoted his life to Canadian football, developing young athletes, building teams, and helping grow the CFL. His passion, his vision, and his love for the game touched players, coaches, and fans across the country. But Hamilton, this team, this roster, this city was his signature project. Ted came home to build a champion here, and his fingerprints remain everywhere. Earlier today, Ted's courageous battle with cancer came to an end. And while we grieve his passing, we also celebrate the strength, the inspiration, and the legacy he leaves behind. So before the next play, let's pause to say what must be said. Tonight, we all stand for Ted. Hamilton, in honor of Ted and in honor of his love for football, let's make some noise for your Hamilton Tiger Cats and for this great game that we all love.
With courage by the Tragically Hip playing in the background and fans cheering. And sure, it's one team versus another tonight, but all united in memory of Ted Gavaia, who has, we've been saying and has been said, touched both franchises so dearly. His years in Winnipeg and getting a chance to be the general manager of a team. He used to go, Dwayne, to Iverwin Stadium, the old Ticats games. And a dream come true for him to come back and be able to have a hand in building this team.
No question, getting his football start in neighboring Burlington, Ontario. His hometown, played high school football there, came back, coached high school football there, before moving on to the university ranks.
Second quarter begins, Dwayne, to Dylan Mitchell. But finish your thought, because I know you talked to him many times about all the various levels of football that he had helped out at.
Well, yeah, and just as you've heard so many people say, a guy who is incredibly passionate, not just about the game of football, but about the game of Canadian football and the people in it, and helping to develop and grow the game in this country. You know, a guy who paid his dues to get to where he was, and as you heard, tried to use his position to help others do the same.
Strebler throwing, nearly intercepted by Kyler Fisher. Strebler has already thrown one pick in this game back in his first pass early on, and over the middle that time it goes incomplete, and it's a third down, and Winnipeg will have to punt.
Yeah, the Bombers lucky to escape this one with an opportunity to punt the football. You can see the window closing, two converging linebackers there as Strebler tries to thread the needle.
Jamison Sheehan with the punt. And it is Phillip Brooks circling back to around the 10 after a punt of 49. And great special teams coverage by the Bombers to push him back further down closer to the 5. Michael Ayers is the special teams tackles leader in that group with Winnipeg.
And often in a situation where you're playing with your backup quarterback, the game plan changes a little bit. And this is where I think you talk about a situation with Winnipeg on their last possession of the first quarter, punting, trying to pin Hamilton deep. You know, basically they're kind of saying, if Bo Levi Mitchell is going to beat us, we want to make him go 80, 90, 100 yards to have to do it.
As opposed to his first drive where he only had to go 7.
Yeah, protect the football, play for field position.
So first down deep in their zone at the 10, turning back, cutting back is Greg Bell, who ends up with about 3 more yards for the Ticat running back.
And Bell did well to turn that one into a positive play. Everything shut down on the front side. He was kind of going on a solo mission there, taking it back the other way. But Jaden Woodby, newcomer in the last couple of weeks to this Winnipeg Blue Bomber defense, there to make the stop.
The Ticats come into this game with a record of 7-5. The only team in the East above 500. 4 points behind the Alouettes. They play Saskatchewan this weekend. Here's Mitchell to throw in the 2nd and 7. Oh, and Lawler had a shot at it. It was good coverage there, but he still had it in his hands and couldn't hang on. Something you don't often see from Kenny Lawler. A 3rd and 7 coming up. And yeah, the field position game working out well for the Bombers as the defense stands strong. And Constantino is going to have to punt it from his end zone.
And there you saw that one, as you said, Rod, deflecting off the hands. And Lawson there to ensure that Lawler didn't have a second chance to get it off the bobble.
Trey Babel at the Winnipeg 45, so they have managed to flip the field and see what they can do with it when they get the ball back. And a good punt by Constantino, chasing him back to the 62-yard punt, but a good return here by Babel, working his way up closer to midfield. And Owen Hubert, ultimately the one pushing him out of bounds. Brady Oliveira, 7 carries, 52 yards so far in this game, and we're early in the second quarter. The Bombers trail the Ticats 10-7. Last time Brady Oliveira was here, had himself a day. He's the CFL's leading rusher, the most outstanding player. That's a sample of why, as the Bombers swept the season series against the Ticats last October, went off for 147 yards.
Yeah, big day for Brady Oliveira, and he's been busy through the opening 15 minutes in this one. Certainly hoping he can duplicate the production of his last appearance here at Hamilton Stadium.
9 touches, 7 carries, 2 catches as well. 52 on the ground, and there's his 8th run, and that's a big one for Oliveira. Down to the 30, pushed down around the 27 by Peters. Best run of the night for Brady Oliveira, who really has something going now.
Yeah, you got to think a steady diet of Brady Oliveira could be wearing down this Hamilton Tiger Cat defense. So the linebackers get swallowed up a little bit on that one. Letting Brady free into the secondary.
30-yard pickup, Oliveira. Here come the Bombers, down by 3 to the Hamilton 27. Streveler, designed run, he just keeps it. Picks up maybe a yard. And faked a toss there, but just decided to take it himself. And a 2nd and long is coming up.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see as this game unfolds some of the other Streveler-specific offensive wrinkles that we may see here as they look to build some things off of the running ability of their quarterback.
Gain of 1, 2nd and 9 at the Hamilton 26. 11 minutes in the clock until halftime. A 3-point difference. Bombers trying to get out of the pocket, and he is sacked by Philip Osai. One of the newcomers to that Ticat defense this season, and Osai picks up his 3rd sack of the season, and it looks like Sergio Castillo will be coming on to try a field goal.
And you'll see Osai coming off the edge here. Basically, he's going to clean up as Streveler gets out of rhythm, able to start to escape the pocket, but couldn't dodge Philip Osai.
Sergio Castillo, who had 2 misses, uncommon for him last week. He was 2 for 4. Longest to 39. This is a 45-yard try to tie the game, and he does indeed. Castillo with the field goal, and we're all even on Team Ted night between the Bombers and the Ticats. And Brady Oliveira, big part of that drive for points, including that 30-yard run. When they say overdrive is everywhere, they're not kidding. That includes BMO Field in Toronto next Friday before the Argos host the Alouettes on TSN. Hayes, the coach. Hayes, can't help but see him as a coach, right? I see Noodles with some Edmonton gear. Of course, that's where his loyalties lie. And how about rush in? No, he's got a ball in his hands. Svelte, wide receiver, maybe a tight end type.
Tell you what, O-Dog looks jacked.
He kind of in the Luke Wilson role. And there's Luke cheering him on. Overdrive. Argos Owls, they're going to, they have an appearance before. They're going to do their showdown there. Also going to make an appearance during Friday Night Football as well. With Hayes and company. Overdrive. Looking forward to that next week. The Hamilton 40 now. We got a 10-10 tie. Bo Levi Mitchell throwing off to the left. He completes it to Tim White at midfield. First down, Hamilton.
Precision throw there from Bo Levi Mitchell, getting it out to that wide sideline. A little bit of play action, good protection. Just drops it in there to Tim White just before he hits that sideline.
Meeting of the season between these two teams. And on the 1st and 10, it is Mitchell over the middle and open. That's Lawler against his old squad. Lawler with the catch. He gets it down to the 35. And Hamilton's offense suddenly on the move. Another first down.
Nice recognition there from quarterback and receiver in terms of coverage. Once again, good protection from the Ticat offensive line. Lawler sitting it down, just again finding that gap between levels in behind the linebackers, in front of the DBs, throttles it down. Bo finds him for another first down.
I mentioned the Ticats at 7-5 up against the Bomber team that's lost 2 straight now, coming in at 500, 6-6. Third in the West. Mitchell had the time, and he wanted Giovanni Robinson, who was being covered there by Reddick Cramdy, but it goes a bit too far. Got rid of that. Second down coming up.
Yep. Bo hung in for a long time. Keep an eye on the bottom of the screen. So I think this is where Bo is initially looking, and he kind of double clutches on this one. Lawler down low, in and then going deep. Yeah, I think part of the miss on that check down to Robinson was it wasn't really what Bo wanted. It was a little bit of an afterthought.
Just outside the 35 of Winnipeg. In this tie ball game, the 2nd and 10, Mitchell, 4-man rush, slips a bit as he steps up, pumps, and he's going to take off again. We mentioned his running prowess last week in Montreal when he took it in for his first rushing touchdown in 10 years, and was up about 1.5 yards short there. Third down coming up.
You get a look here from Bo Levi Mitchell's perspective. You see all the white jerseys dropping off. Plenty of green turf in front of him. He's going to try and chew some of that up in an attempt to get the first down, but it'll be the field goal team, including the former Blue Bomber kicker, Mark Leggio.
Leggio with the Bombers in 21 and kicking for them in the Grey Cup in 22 before moving over to Hamilton. As mentioned, came in, tied with Sean White. The top field goal percentage this season so far. This one, 1 for 1 in the night. This will be about a 35-yard try with Constantino to put it down, and Gordon White on the snap, out, down, and kicked, and perfect for Mark Leggio. And Hamilton gets a 3-point lead back, and it just took a couple of plays. They started from their 40. Mitchell gets them close enough. Halfway through the second quarter. Back in Hamilton tonight, they're honoring the late Ted Gavaya. Let's go back to Matthew.
No, not only, Rod, do you offer condolences, but you're asking people how they're feeling today. And Bo Levi Mitchell looked at me pregame and said, how am I feeling, it really doesn't matter. On a day like this and knowing the battle that Ted put in with that fight that he had with cancer, it really doesn't matter if some part of your body is hurting. It doesn't matter if you're dealing with any kind of adversity. They watched him every single day come to work, use his job as a way of communicating to the team how much he was invested. And Rod, you spoke about that story with Gavaya bringing Kenny Lawler over, and I went up to Kenny before the game to see how he was feeling. I have never seen him so focused. The best way that he can honor Gavaya could be a big play tonight, Rod.
All right, Matthew, and the Bombers have the football right now. Lawler's Ticats with the 3-point lead, and he's had a couple of catches in this game, but a short pickup on first down. Oliveira and Winnipeg, and a 2nd and 8 coming up.
We've talked so much about the number of players in this game impacted by Ted Gavaya. In some way, their journey, the role that he played in that. Kenny Lawler, one of about a dozen former Blue Bombers who followed him here in free agency.
Stravler just takes it right up the middle. Quarterback draw. Kyler Fisher tackles him, but he had lots of room to run on that play as Stravler on his legs gets it across midfield, 16 yards, first down Bombers.
Yeah, and watch how this opens up. O-line does a good job opening up the middle of the field.
16-yard gain, 3 carries for Stravler for 20 yards in his 3rd start this season for the injured Zach Collaros. Handing off Oliveira. Miles Fox, another ex-Bomber, had a shot at him, and he ends up picking up 3-4 more. You talk about all these former Blue Bombers on this team. You get Liam Dobson also on offense along with Lawler, but you got Fox there. A number of players, not to mention Ted Gavaya's other free agent signings and the draft as well. A terrific job of refitting this Hamilton Tiger Cats team. And that man there, the headliner, and showed his worth, especially early on with all those great catches, all those touchdowns. There's Stravler, and a sliding Kevin Sklarcius with the ball in behind, and Peters there sees it go incomplete. 3rd and 5 coming up.
Another opportunity here for the Bombers to try and pin the Ticats deep. Hamilton in response going with 2 returners on their punt return squad. They want to make sure they have the whole field covered. They don't want to give the ball a chance to get on the ground. They want a chance to return it.
Out. Catch by Tim White in the punt return. And not much room from there. 45-yard punt, as mentioned, a flag coming out as was coming down to Tim White. The Bombers, again, choosing the field position game. Would have been in range of a long try for Sergio Castillo. Has been known to hit big ones, but again, they choose to punt. I'm still awaiting word on what the penalty is. More discussion takes place, but it looks like the Cats will be still scrimmaging deep in their zone around the 15, 16-yard line. Andre Proulx now in conversation with Hamilton head coach Scott Milanovich.
We'll get the official call here.
Illegally downfield on a kick. Winnipeg number 34. Hamilton has elected to have the penalty applied from the point of last scrimmage 10 yards back.
So wants a re-kick now. Connor Shea, the rookie for the Bombers, the one that's flagged, being illegally downfield. And so Sheehan this time will stand that much further back, 10 yards further back. And what is now a 3rd and 15.
And Connor Shea, who lines up as the left tackle on the Bombers punt team, essentially those interior linemen in the punt protection unit can't leave in coverage until the ball is kicked. So Shea out a little early.
So the decision to re-kick does make a difference for the Ticats. Brooks, nowhere to go, but still better field position after a 40-yard punt and getting it up to the Hamilton 20. Well, it's a thrilling end to the race around the country. The season finale of The Amazing Race Canada, Tuesday on CTV, stream next day on Crave. I haven't forgot about the campaign. Marshall Ferguson, Dwayne Ford next year in The Amazing Race. What do you think?
Well,
I mean, it was Marshall's idea, wasn't it, or yours?
If you could pick any CFL on TSN personality to be your partner on The Amazing Race,
yes,
who would it be?
Well, don't say me.
No, I'm asking you.
Who would be for me?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd be taking you. Absolutely. Left side. But I think for you, Marshall would be a better partner to have.
Well, you notice I wasn't jumping at your partnership offer there.
Take the one who is younger, more athletic.
Fresh legs, man.
Big, and an old quarterback, too. Fresh legs, yeah, definitely. 2nd and 7 now. Hamilton football with a 3-point lead, 4 minutes on the clock until halftime. 4 receivers out to the right, throwing it that way to the flat. It is caught by Bell, spins it up, gets a first down too, up to around the 39 late in this first half.
Bell with an early touchdown in this one. Having a little more impact as a receiver than as a ball carrier in the first half here so far. Again, coming off a season high, 156 rushing yards and 19 carries last week.
His 2 catches for 23 yards. Of note, the touchdown on their first play from scrimmage after the interception, 7 yards. Jamani Robinson, and meeting him there, Demario Houston back in the lineup for Winnipeg. They're spending last year in Calgary and picked up by the Bombers. Had some good years there before that. As mentioned, played in the Grey Cup with Winnipeg right in this field back in 2023. 3-minute warning. Hamilton Stadium and the Ticats on Team Ted night lead the Bombers.
I thought we were supposed to be doing push-ups after touchdowns. Isn't that the deal?
Oh, yeah.
You're on the DL, though.
Yeah.
So how many are we back then? We've got 2 touchdowns. Okay.
60, 55.
We won't do push-ups at halftime, but we'll talk about the first half. Maybe Rod and Dwayne can show us the proper form.
Oh, we could, Laura, we could, but there are no cameras available up here right now. They're devoted to the game, but Dwayne and I have been doing our push-ups.
Every commercial break.
Yeah, every first down. We sound out of breath. Maybe not. 2nd and 3 here. With Laura and the panel coming up at halftime. And a little quick hitter to the right there to Keandre Smith for his first catch of the night. And another first down for the Ticats approaching midfield.
Keandre Smith, who's emerged as the Ticats' second leading receiver this season, behind Kenny Lawler.
Ticats 2 for 2 on 2nd down conversions on this drive. It's 1st and 10 now, and it's Tim White. Talk about that receiving core. Where White, and you add Lawler, you got Keandre Smith, and having a career year, his young career. Add in Brendan O'Leary-Orange, and it's been an excellent receiving core for the Ticats this year.
Hamilton number 4, 10-yard penalty. It will remain first down.
However, that time, it is negated on the hold by O'Leary-Orange.
Yeah, you see O'Leary-Orange on the back of Dexter Lawson Jr. Any arguments on the call?
Well, it's hard to argue that Lawson is embellishing when there's an arm around his neck.
Yes.
And he was going in that direction. So, no. 1st and 20 now. Ticats push back. 2.25, or 2:25, I should say, until halftime. Throwing, midfield, up and down, and a good catch there with the coverage from Houston by Kenny Lawler. And his old teammate and gets it up across midfield, and they get a lot of that penalty yardage back and more. It'd be a second down at about 7.
Yeah, matchup on the outside here. Lawler versus the corner, Houston. Just able to secure that ball as his legs are taken out.
Second down and 7. That's caught by Smith. Tries to turn it up, and he needed to get to the 48. He is well shy of that. We got a third down coming up.
Yeah, Smith essentially the check down on that one. Not a lot of room to run after the catch. Kyrie Wilson in on the play.
By the way, I heard from Marshall, who said the obvious choice should be Milt if you're picking someone for Amazing Race. But
yeah, I mean,
I think Milt's back at studio deeply offended when you asked that question. But I don't think Milt would team with me. But anyway, we'll let that one rest.
It's not all running.
No.
You know, I mean, yeah, race is in the name of the show, but there's all kinds of other challenges. And, like, you've got Milt Stiegel, who's not going to eat anything other than a salad.
So we need an eating competition, do we? On the punt from Constantino, no yards coming up here. Babel, after a 30-yard punt only, takes that outside the 20. He'll tack on 15 more yards for the no yards. And there he is, Milt Stiegel, Enoch Nwama, Davis Sanchez, and Laura Dyken. The panel tonight, some thoughts on this one this evening with the Ticats and Bombers, and part 2 of the doubleheader, by the way, in Vancouver, BC Place, with the Lions and the Ottawa Red Blacks meeting again after that amazing comeback by Ottawa last week to knock off BC. Huge game there on this Friday doubleheader.
Into the final third of the regular season already in week 15. Playoff implications all over the place.
1:23 on the clock till halftime. Bombers down 3. Strebler rolls to his right. It's intercepted. Second pick he's thrown to Sean Amos. And once again, the Ticats take advantage of a turnover to get it deep inside the Bombers zone. Still over a minute till halftime. A frustrated Strebler heads to the sidelines.
Yeah, it could prove to be a costly interception. You consider the situation and the timing here. Just over a minute to go in the first half. Ticats already in field goal range, and Hamilton will get the ball to start the second half of this football game. So it's sort of an opportunity to double up back-to-back offensive possessions here for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Sean Amos, who started his career with the Calgary Stampeders, had some good years, winning Grey Cups with the Toronto Argonauts, and now over with the Ticats with his second interception. And down to the 26, Winnipeg. Still plenty of time here for Hamilton. There's Greg Bell, eating up yardage again as he gets it inside the 15. Good pickup by Bell. And another first down for the Ticats as they approach the Winnipeg end zone.
The frustration from Chris Strebler on the sideline. We'll take a look here. Watch the patience from Bell. Left tackle Brendan Bordner does a nice job washing things down on the left side, allowing that cutback lane for Bell. But Strebler frustrated on the sidelines as he knows these 2 interceptions he's thrown have created a great opportunity for Hamilton to put points on the board. Already a touchdown off that first turnover.
At the 13, see what the Ticats can do quickly. It is caught and down around the 6. Pick up about 6-7 yards, and that's Kenny Lawler with it. Second down coming up. 51 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, Lawler in between defenders there. Reddick Cramdy giving his old teammate a little bit of a hard time. The two of them trading smiles down there at the end of the play.
emotional night for Lawler, I'm sure, on a few levels, including facing his old team for the first time. The throw, end zone, touchdown, Tim White. And again, the Ticats make Winnipeg pay for that interception. 13 points off turnovers with the point after try coming up.
The Tiger Cats have been opportunists. We talked about Winnipeg playing a field position game here today. When they've avoided turnovers, they've been able to do that very successfully, but 2 interceptions returned deep into Blue Bomber territory, accounting for 13 of the 19 points so far. Perhaps soon to be 14 of 20 with that extra point pending.
From Mark Leggio, put down by Constantino, and yes, indeed, 14 points off turnovers. After that touchdown by Tim White from Boldy by Mitchell, the 5th touchdown of the season for White. 2 touchdown passes for Mitchell is now up to 26. And for Strevler, frustrating in this start, his 3rd of the season against the Ticats. Another look at this 2nd interception thrown.
And you can see tough one there as Deshaun Amos is right in the hip pocket of Nick Dembski and making a break to fight his way in front of the receiver. Nice job by Mitchell there. Looks like it's a simple thing, but basically putting the ball where only Tim White can get it. Chris Strevler's got to shake that one off. Prepare to fight the next possession.
Heard him saying, "We love you, Ted." Thinking of the general manager, Ted Gavaya, but this has been a problem for Winnipeg lately, too, with the turnovers and the customary stat of the negative turnover ratio for a Mike O'Shea team, but that has been a big problem. Ball security. And it's cost them here now with another Hamilton touchdown and a 10-point lead, and Babel with it late in the first half. About a half minute to go, running around and going nowhere there as he is tackled. Braxton Hill and Ryan Baker in there for the Cats, and Strevler will come right back on now with 28 seconds to go until they head off to the dressing room.
See if Strevler and the Blue Bombers take an aggressive approach here in the closing seconds. See if they might be able to get into field goal range.
From the Winnipeg 29. Oliveira. One aspect of the Bomber offense that has been working well tonight, Brady Oliveira, coming into that carry with 88 yards rushing in the first half alone. That was his 11th carry. And it'll be a 2nd and short coming up here for Winnipeg. But if they fall much further behind, it's going to be harder to run the football with any kind of consistency.
Yeah, and certainly not a big surprise to see the Bombers go with Oliveira and that run game down the stretch.
It's 11 carries for 95 for Oliveira now. 16 seconds to go. 12th carry, and could put him right around 100 yards before halftime for Oliveira, but his team is trailing by 10.
Yeah, you look at the way that Winnipeg has relied on the run game offensively. Again, we talked about that field position piece that has been a part of their thinking, a part of their approach so far. So playing it kind of conservative, and here to close out the first half, as this should be the final play.
Last play, first half, and back to Oliveira. Yardage from him, well over 100 in the first half, but some costly turnovers getting it up across the 50. But I mean, the biggest story would have to be ball security and how Hamilton took advantage of it.
Yeah, no question. I mean, when you come into a football game playing with your backup quarterback, as the cliche would kind of go, you don't necessarily need him to go out and win the game, but he can't make mistakes that cause you to lose it. And so a couple of costly turnovers, the story in the first half. Look for the veteran Chris Strevler to game to redeem himself in the second half of this ball game.
Well, that was right from the start. Winnipeg's opening possession. First pass by Strevler, and that was picked off, and it led to a Hamilton touchdown on the next play. Here are the two interceptions. That first one I'm talking about, reaching back, got it down to the 7, and that set up a touchdown to Greg Bell. So 7 points off turnovers. Then this, just moments ago, Strevler, Deshaun Amos steps in front of it. He gets it down closer. They end up with a touchdown, and Amos now standing by with Matthew.
Deshaun, you and Jamal Peters get a pick this half. Do you guys, how much do you discuss attacking routes during the practice week leading into a game, you and Jamal?
Man, first and foremost, just want to give all honor, praise, and glory to my God. But me and Pete, that's conversation we've been having since we first met years ago, man. We compete. It's a healthy competition in that room, and we want the ball.
How is this team managing the emotions and the inspiration, knowing the battle that Ted Gavaya fought and what tonight means?
Words can't express it, man. Ted was just a great guy, man. He's so important to this organization and to us, and we just all taking it personal, man, because he handpicked every single one of us, right? He believed in every one of us, and we know he was fighting a good fight, and so it's heavy on our hearts, but we just know that he wants us to come out here, play football, play hard, and so that's what we're going to do for him.
Thanks, Deshaun. My condolences.
Thank you.
Laura, well, the secondary of the Ticats putting them in scoring position, and they're up 10.
And it's funny, turnovers was kind of front and center when it came into this matchup. The Hamilton Tiger Cats have forced the most turnovers this season. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers have given up the most turnovers, and it's the something's got to give game here and kind of going according to script. For Hamilton, coming into this game, leading the CFL with 84 points off of turnovers, add another 14 to that total. And we heard Rod and Dwayne just speaking about it. It started right off the hop, third play of the game, and already the Bombers were giving up a turnover.
Yeah, and we said earlier they had to play from in front. It was ideal for the style of offense they play. But the biggest play, I think, other than that one, was the right before the half. Again, that's what gave Hamilton this healthy lead. And what I saw in this is when you see a half, this is a rollout, this is good because now it makes it a half-field read for your quarterback. What it also does is it takes half of the routes out of the equation for the defensive back, and Amos completely sat on that thing. This one right here, Chris Trevler shouldn't have thrown. This was the first series of the game. He should have thrown this, but his teammates also got to help him out. It's a bad snap. You see Strep kind of jump up and grab this, which throws off the timing. On the bottom, you look at Jamal Peters. This is cover 2. This is a dream for a quarterback. He's got a high safety up top. He sees the screen. He's got no threat, so he could jump it. But Ontario Wilson, the receiver, he doesn't sell it at all. He comes off the ball extremely slow. He doesn't set up the block for his receiver, and that's what allowed Petey to make that play. But again, good read from him, great hands. That's a dream play for a cornerback, but 2 picks, not ideal for the style this team wants to play.
Yeah, and you look at the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. There's not a lot of bright spots, but there was one. Rod was talking about it as well. It's been Brady Oliveira. 13 carries, 110 yards, and he showed 110 reasons why he is the bright spot and he's the engine that this team runs with. Look at the strength, the power that he showed throughout the course of the first half. You see here all of his abilities on display tonight. Catching ability and still running after the catch for another first down. And you see again his vision, his patience is put on display tonight, and he's showing everybody that this team has to go through him offensively speaking. Obviously, as a running back, this is where the challenge comes in. You're behind 10 now. It's the second half. You have to put the ball in the air. What is Brady really going to do in the second half to try and get this team to come back?
Well, I'm sure they're going to try to come out and try to run the ball. They're only down by 10 points. They have to because Strevler's not getting it done. But they have scored a touchdown. And I won't say they scored. I'll say Hamilton gave it up. You know, defensively, when you in that position they were put in, when they're scrambling, when you got guys running on the field, running off the field, that's when somebody in the box, somebody on the sideline, one of the leaders on the field have to say, timeout, timeout, timeout. There's no way that you should leave a receiver wide open like that. There's no way.
Scott Blanford's got to be yelling at his assistant coaches. Somebody had to get that one.
Somebody has to say, okay, let's call this timeout so we don't give up this easy touchdown. So it didn't hurt them because they're still up 20-10. But if they were up 20-3, this game could pretty much be over with. But Winnipeg still has an opportunity because they was able to score that touchdown. Let's see if they can get Brady going and See what happens in the second half.
Going back to the turnovers very quickly, Hamilton 6-0 this season when winning the turnover battle. Winnipeg 0-5 when losing the turnover battle. Ticats +2 in that department so far. Don't forget, there's another game on tap here tonight in our doubleheader. We'll look ahead to the Lions and Red Blacks, the rematch, when we come back.
So much to do, so much to see, so what's wrong with taking the back streets? You'll never know if you don't go. You'll never shine if you don't glow. Hey now, you're an all-star. Get your game on, go play. Hey now, you're a rock star. Get the show on, get paid.
While we're at the half in Hamilton, some 4,300 plus kilometers west, the Red Blacks and Lions are gearing up for Game 2 of tonight's doubleheader in Vancouver. Rematch of last week's wild game. Ottawa coming back and outscoring BC 18-6 in the fourth, getting the improbable victory. So we'll see what these two teams have in store tonight. He is good. He is good. He and the rest of the Lions, though, having some issues closing out games lately, though, Davis Sanchez.
Yeah, and look, the defensive team, the defensive side of the football is what I'm looking at, this BC Lions team. And I tell you right now, Mike Benavidez is a good defensive coach. There's no question about it. Ryan Phillips understands secondary. These two guys got to figure it out. They don't have the personnel, I don't think, right now, to play man, and they're playing a bunch of zone, and right now they're leaving guys wide open in their zones. I expect an inspired effort from this BC defense at home. They are letting their offense down, and they have got to find a way, or there will be changes with that roster.
That BC defense better play some inspired football for sure. But I'll tell you what, these guys right here are going to want to raise the roof in Ottawa because Dustin Crum, he threw for over 300 yards last week, and you don't always see that. But I'll tell you what, Khalil Pimpleton, Geno Lewis, Justin Hardy, and all those guys are saying, throw us the ball. I promise you we'll make it happen. So they're going to want to be inspired tonight, too.
I always say, and hopefully you guys agree with me, the most important trait to being successful is what? Confidence. Yeah. Confidence. These Ottawa Red Blacks.
We're like line?
What did you say? What did you say? No, I'm just joking. Confidence. These Red Blacks, they have confidence. What they did, the way they came back against these BC Lions that last game, they go into this game believing they can win. And if they have that trait, they have an opportunity to win. It's going to take a lot because I think Nathan Rourke is going to try to go out there and score 50 points and throw for 500 yards. But I believe in these Ottawa Red Blacks because we've seen what they've done in that last game.
Not easy to beat the same team in back-to-back weeks, but I guess the Riders just did that to the Bombers.
Hey,
speaking of the Bombers, Rat, Reed, and Triumph, guys. Second half is coming up. Reed and Triumph.
Well, Triumph for sure. What coach was that?
Has to go through you right now, 110 yards in that first half. I imagine you don't mind that right now.
Yeah, whatever it takes, man. Whatever it takes to get the job done, we got to come out here with a win.
How is this locker room managing everything that's going on today, knowing that Ted Gavai wants you guys to play a game, but so many guys on this field have a connection to it?
Yeah, obviously, my condolences go out to Ted's family. He's a great guy. I think both teams tonight are going out there and playing for him.
My condolences to you, Brad. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
And the second half begins with Phillip Brooks on the kick return. So the Ticats, Dwayne, you talked about this. Thanks to that turnover, they get the late possession for the touchdown. Then they get to start the second half with the ball.
Yeah, and obviously looking to try and take advantage of that. I'm curious to see if they try and take a little bit of a deep shot here, go aggressive right out of the gate against the Bombers.
Bo Levi Mitchell, 13 of 17 for 126 yards, 2 touchdown passes. Those TD drives very short because of the interceptions thrown. Chris Strevler picked off twice, once very deep down at the 7 they started at the beginning of the game. And they made Winnipeg pay. So they start now just across their 35. Play action pass. Mitchell to the left. It is a deep shot over midfield to Kenny Lawler. Finds him coming back to the ball. And it's a big strike to start the second half. Just into the Bomber zone now in a first down, Hamilton.
Yeah, Kenny Lawler can do a little bit of a comeback along the sidelines. You just saw Dexter Lawson losing his footing there, trying to make the break with the receiver, and see how he does staying in bounds. Yeah, nice little tightrope act along the sideline to secure the catch.
From Kenny Lawler in his first year with the Ticats after many great seasons with Winnipeg. First down, and one-handed. Bringing that in is Keandre Smith nicely. Good pickup on first down on that reception, close to the Winnipeg 45.
Keandre Smith stabbing this one out of the air. He's going to come across the formation underneath. Ball thrown a little bit to the inside. Nice one-hand grab there and pull it into the body.
No problem at all. In behind him, just sticks out that left hand, and Keandre Smith brings it in. A 2nd and 2. Right down the nose of the ball at the Bomber 45. Opening possession, second half, first game of Week 15. Part 1 of a doubleheader here in Friday Night Football on TSN. On this second down play, handing off to Greg Bell. A productive first half and a flag coming out would have enough for the first down yardage. Bell had 7 carries for 30 yards in that first half after rushing for over 150 in Montreal last week.
Yeah, and really doing most of his damage as a receiver, as his production in that role included the game's first touchdown.
Hamilton, number 59, was closing the line. 5-yard penalty. It remains second down.
Was enough for a first, but Quentin Barrow penalized there on a procedure call, which pushes them 5 back and just outside the Ticats 50 for a 2nd and 7. Scrimmage, and it falls down just inside the 40. Closest receiver, Brendan O'Leary Orange. Whenever I see a Blue Bomber knock down a ball at the line of scrimmage, it's the one time you don't really have to guess.
Yeah, we just assume Willie Jefferson lines up on the inside here, working against the guard Dobson, and getting a piece of this one. He just has an absolutely ridiculous knack for batting balls down.
Not only using his height and athleticism, but just his timing as well. Bo Levi Mitchell has seen that before, I'm sure. 13th knockdown by Willie Jefferson to force them to punt it away. And a good punt there by Nick Constantino to pin the Bombers back inside their own 5. Jamal Peters starting the game off with a bang and an interception that led to the first points and a Hamilton touchdown.
There's an expression suggesting that you play the way you practice. You saw Jamal Peters making breaks and picking off balls in warm-up today, and he delivered early in the game. Deshaun Amos, practice maybe wasn't so great, but come game time, number 8 has come up big for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Yeah, for Deshaun Amos, if you're going to get one of them right, do it during the game. He did. And the turnover differential this season, top to bottom, plus 10 Ticats, minus 13 Winnipeg, and that's grown both ways tonight with the 2 interceptions. Peters and Amos leading to Hamilton touchdowns. Chris Strevler and that Bomber offense, they've got some work to do, and they're starting inside their 5. Faking to Oliveira, calls his number, and Strevler does run it up to across the 10 and setting up a second down, but 5 yards coming up.
And this essentially off the fake turns into a lead play. Brady Oliveira gets in the hole. He takes on the weak side linebacker Kyler Fisher as Strebler effectively becomes the running back on the play.
Zach Collaros, missing his third start of the season after being injured last week in the Banjo Bowl, looks on. Strebler just across the 9 for Winnipeg. In the second down and 5, sends it off to Oliveira, puts his head down, and a collision as he gets it up close to the 15. It's a first down. That was Kyler Fisher, weak side linebacker, in on Oliveira.
And Bombers happy to have a little breathing room there after the tremendous punt by Nick Constantino. Had them backed right up in their own territory. Look to string together a couple of first downs here.
Bombers coming into this game with a record of 6-6. Not just barely ahead of BC and Edmonton coming on. And the Lions play Ottawa later on tonight. Oliveira. Another carry for him on a very busy night as he works that one up just across the 20. Another good gain. 6-7 yards, second and short coming up here for Winnipeg.
Yeah, through the first half, the Hamilton Tiger Cats held a slight edge in terms of time of possession. I'll be interested to see as this third quarter unfolds, we get into the fourth. Winnipeg has given the Hamilton defense such a steady diet of Brady Oliveira running the football, and they've had some success in that regard. We'll see if that starts to take a physical toll as the game rolls on. They can start carving out some bigger chunks of yardage.
Down by 10, still plenty of time to starting the second half of that time. Reggie Stubblefield, Philip Osai, Casey Sales in there. And Oliveira can't get much, and we get a third down coming up, and the punting unit coming on for Winnipeg.
Big stop there for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Again, we've talked a lot about field position in the course of this ball game. Terrific job by Constantino to leave the Bombers starting inside their own 10-yard line. We'll see what the Ticats can get off the return here. See what the total net gain is on the exchange of these two punts.
On the third down, Jamison Sheehan, 2 punted away, and it is Brooks. Philip Brooks in his second game with Hamilton, and his third in the CFL after a 54-yard punt, and he works that one up around the 45. Kenny Lawler against his old club. He has 5 catches for 70 yards on Team Ted night in Hamilton.
Welcome back to Hamilton Stadium, where the Ticats are up 10, and you're seeing Kenny Lawler, who has 5 catches for 70 yards. And so often I ask him, what is it in the moment when you make a big grab that really tells you how significant that play is? I've asked him so often how he looks the ball in. He said, no, it's not necessarily the ball in my hand. It's the sound of the crowd in my ears. Lawler often explains to me that when the ball is in the air, he doesn't hear anything. But as soon, Rod, as he gets those mitts around the ball, he listens for the crowd's excitement and energy. And on a night like this, when everyone wants to feel that energy a little bit, don't just watch for Kenny Lawler, listen for him.
Oh, Matthew, he's heard that Hamilton crowd several times in what he's done this year in his first year with the Cats, just like they used to do for him in Winnipeg when he was a Bomber. Before that, here's Greg Bell, and just pushing in behind former Bomber Liam Dobson, the right guard, for a little extra yardage now to set up a second and short for Hamilton.
And a couple big bodies getting into the game here in the short yardage situation. Ante Litre and Giovanni Robinson check in. Ticats may be a little limited in some of their offensive personnel sets here in the second half, as their 6th offensive lineman and occasional fullback, Jacob Zott, is nicked up.
Andy Litre in motion. The handoff to Bell easily has the first down and more. Greg Bell on that second down only needed a couple of yards. He gets it across midfield, down closer to the Ticats 50.
Yeah, terrific burst here from Greg Bell, and you'll see the way once he gets to second level, attacks the outside very nearly, escaping with a cut back to the inside, but Demario Houston gets enough of him to bring him down.
That ball is at the Winnipeg 51. The Ticats, third quarter, 10-point lead. Their touchdowns have come on short drives after interceptions. Driving now, but wrapping up Bell nicely shortly after he gets the football is Willie Jefferson, who's done it all in his career. career, especially the knockdowns and the sacks, but a good tackle there to still make it a 2nd and 6 after a 4-yard pickup by Bell.
And Willie Jefferson talked to us a little bit this week about how the sack numbers are down. He sees a lot of different looks in terms of blocking schemes from opposing offensive lines, getting a little extra attention, but doing whatever he can to still make an impact defensively. And I mean, his knockdown numbers have been outrageous. I think he's up to 13 on the season already.
13 indeed to lead the CFL. There's a throw to the right. Mitchell open and caught. A little low in there for Lawler, but still good enough for another first down. Placed in nicely by Mitchell to his favorite target, Kenny Lawler, down around the 27 of the Blue Bombers.
Yeah, Ticats get Lawler and White lined up to the same side of the field here.
Hey, Carrot, left tight,
Again, a little bit of a throw behind.
Carrot, left tight, yo-yo,
So Ticats have been effective with this offensively so often. Obviously, teams worried with Kenny Lawler taking the top off the defense. They get into that back pedal and then get that throw behind where there's going to be a little bit of separation.
6 catches, 90 yards. Kenny Lawler. Here's Mitchell to throw again. Shorter pass to the left. It's caught by Shamar Bridges, their top rookie in 2024. Fewer catches certainly here in 25, but he gets that one down to about the 23. 2nd down and long coming up.
And Shamar Bridges often lining up as the wide side wideout in a shuffle of the Tiger Cats offense with the arrival of Kenny Lawler. So not as many opportunities, but making the most of the ones he gets here this season.
Finger pointing time. The scrimmage from just inside the 25, but the flags are out before the snap of the football.
Looked like Willie Jefferson anxious to get a jump on things there in that 2nd and long.
Defensive offside. Winnipeg number 5. 5-yard penalty. It remains 2nd down.
Defensive line in the bottom left corner of your screen is Willie J.
So it's a 2nd and short now. As the Ticats get closer, it's Bell, first down. Down closer to the 10. Kyrie Wilson on the tackle, but the sticks move again for the Ticats. Looking for a longer touchdown drive here in this 3rd quarter to really take charge against Winnipeg.
Get a close-up look here once again. Starts off to the right. Bends it back to the left.
Hey, Carrot, Jack Flip, W fly home.
Get that defense flowing the wrong way. As Bell takes advantage of his strong change of direction skills.
This drive started at the Hamilton 43. They have it down to the Winnipeg 11 now, and a 1st and 10. Bo Levi Mitchell and the Ticats. Faking to Litre, the toss, right to Bell, inside the 10, the 5. And tackled there by Cam Allen, but not before he sets up another 2nd and short. They could get another set of downs so they can work it down to the 1, but awfully close to the end zone now.
And nice complementary run game with the 2 backs in the backfield. Fake to Litre on the inside as Bell kind of jump starts that option path to attack the edge on the far side.
2nd and 3 at the Winnipeg 4. Ticats up by 10 and looking for more. Mitchell with time, steps up to the left, takes off, and nowhere to go. And heat coming in as he does get it, just advances it maybe a yard. See where they put it down. The bottom line is, it is a 3rd down. And it looks like, yes, the field goal unit and Mark Leggio will come on as they will settle for 3 after a very good drive here in this 3rd quarter.
Bo may have been thinking of trying to stretch his touchdown streak to 2 games. But things closed down quickly there as he started to take off.
Well, he had them in bunches before 2015. Then a 10-year hiatus.
Yeah, 14 in his first 4 years, and then, as you said, 10 years in between touchdowns after that.
Mark Leggio's 2 for 2. With a short attempt here. Down around the 13. No problem at all. But the guy who continues to lead in field goal percentage in the Canadian Football League. 3 more on the board. Ticats lead it by 13. Laura was talking earlier about push-ups after every touchdown. How about this version here, the youngest member of the Box J Boys?
Lifting babies. Great exercise.
Not quite the same thing, is it? Getting a nice lift for that young Ticat fan. After, well, not a touchdown, after a field goal. After points on the board, if you will. 13-point difference. Starting from the 40 of the Bombers in a slightly deeper hole now. Yes, they can run the football. Chris Trevler is trying to get the air attack going. And off to the left. That is caught by Kevin Clarcius. And big Clarcius pauses and then heads straight up and picks up a first down after the catch.
Clarcius, a second-round pick for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers a year ago. Montrealer, who played his college football at the University of Connecticut.
And he's a big target and a strong guy. He had a Kenny Lawler-type catch against the Riders in the Labor Day game. Set him up deep in Saskatchewan zone. And a pair of hands, too. And that's Ontario Wilson, the sweep around the edge. And he gets it inside the 40. So here we go quickly for the Bombers. Couple of first downs, and they've gone into the Ticat zone.
We so often see Nick Dembski as the receiver getting involved in the run game for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
They go tempo, rolling out, throwing, and it is caught to by Dylan Mitchell down at the 30. So another completion for Strevler and another first down for Winnipeg. It's getting late in the third quarter, but this is the best the Bombers offense has looked in quite some time.
Yeah, doing a nice job here, Strevler. Offensively, we mentioned the run play to Ontario Wilson. Followed up by Strevler getting out of the pocket to throw that football. Forcing the defense to defend sideline to sideline here.
Crowd picking up at Hamilton Stadium, faking the throw, and then calling his number again. Strevler using his legs, and effectively again. An impressive drive here by Winnipeg as they get it down around the 20 and looks to be close to, very close to, enough for another Bomber first down. They quickly get up over the ball again.
Lead draw with the quarterback again. Brady Oliveira taking on the linebacker Fisher as the lead blocker.
Short yardage, Strevler's used to that, keeps it, and that will move the sticks, getting it inside the 20 now. Bombers don't just need a score, they need a touchdown now. They head into the fourth quarter and cut into this Hamilton lead. They're down by 13.
Yeah, given the field position, as you said, Rod, finally finding themselves venturing deep into Hamilton territory. Don't want it to be all for naught.
Faking Oliveira, rolling to the right. Sending it to the end zone, but way too far. No receiver is there. The closest was Wheatfall, who has Winnipeg's touchdown earlier in this game. But nothing there that time. A 2nd and 10 coming up.
Yeah, and I think Strevler in that instance very conscious of making sure he's protecting the football. It ends up a little long as he wants to make sure he doesn't underthrow it, which creates that risk of a turnover here with this glorious scoring opportunity.
Nick Dembski off to tend to some footwear quickly. The Bombers have to make a substitution here in the 2nd and 10 moment. But Wheatfall off to the right, Clarcius off to the left. Dylan Mitchell, Ontario Wilson, Oliveira in the backfield. Little pump fake. Strevler gets rid of it just as he is being sacked by Philip Osai. Osai was there to bring the heat. Third down coming up. And it's the Bombers this time settling for a field goal try.
Yeah, big second down stop there. by the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Osai making an impact here along this defensive line. Good hands there to fight off Stanley Bryant and go wide around the edge. Osai had an opportunity to get into this lineup with an injury to former Bomber Taiwan Garbett, who started the first portion of the season at defensive end.
So Sheehan will put the ball down on the right hash at the 26 for Sergio Castillo, who's 1 for 1, hit one from 45 earlier, and he adds another one. So they answer that Tiger Cat second half field goal with one of their own, still down 10 points at three-quarter time. But a good sign for Winnipeg's offense to move the football effectively. On Team Ted night here in Hamilton. It is the Ticats still with a 10-point lead on Winnipeg as they trade field goals. But at what point the Bombers, who have run the ball extremely well, going to have to open it up a little bit more to get back into this game?
Yeah, you get into the fourth quarter of this football game, and obviously the success running the football is great. A high percentage, low risk for Winnipeg, but not exactly what you would call time-friendly. Eating up a lot of the clock, running the football in a game where they're still down by a couple of scores with with 1 quarter to go.
And trying to improve to a record of 8-5, the Ticats are. The Bombers with Brady Oliveira having a great night on the ground, trying to get back over 500. They come in at 6-6 after back-to-back losses to the Riders Labor Day and the Banjo Bowl. Levi Mitchell, 17 for 22, 179 yards passing after a season-low 191 last week in Montreal. A couple of touchdowns, no picks. Fourth quarter begins here at Hamilton Stadium. Three-man rush. Mitchell still facing some heat, and a flag goes up in the Tiger Cat backfield, too, as he does take off and ultimately gets tackled by Kyrie Wilson after nearly picking up 10 yards. But is this going to be holding?
Holding. Hamilton number 64. 10-yard penalty. Will replay first down.
Center Calderwood Manzi from the University of Guelph, and looks like he's limping a little bit, heading back to the huddle.
We'll keep an eye here.
Hey, Rose, quads right, wide on. Rose, quads right, wide on.
Manzi gets
Chicago.
Locked up and just trying to hold on. You can see as he gets tripped up by teammate Brandon Revenberg, who is on the ground. He's just trying to make sure he protects his quarterback.
And a reminder, too, that the Ticats have already lost an offensive lineman in Jacob Zine. Well, there's a little shovel pass. Greg Bell on a 1st and 20 and picks up some of that penalty yardage back. This will be a 2nd and long coming up, about 12 yards away.
An opportunity for Jefferson, the rest of this defensive line, to get after a little bit in 2nd and long.
A big 2nd down for this Bomber defense. The 10-point difference here in the 4th quarter. And the 2nd down and 12 for Mitchell. Quickly again to Tim White, but can't hang on to the ball. Thinking about turning it up and seeing what he could get, maybe even a 1st down, but instead, right at the 45, the ball hits the turf, and the Bombers fortunate to get the ball back here with Hamilton's punting unit coming on.
Yeah, just a quick underneath crosser. White unable to squeeze it on that one as the Bombers catch a break.
Trey Vavel, 1st-year Blue Bomber. Back to receive this punt by Nick Constantino. Another good punt, Constantino. 59-yard punt. Does get it up around the 20 before it meets a wall of black and gold. And push him back, including special team specialist Tyler Ternowski. Hamilton, Friday night, and the Ticats are leading. A penalty flag thrown on the return by Trey Vavel, and after this play was done, ends up being a Bomber penalty, 40.
Yeah, into this one, a little bit of chatter back and forth. You'll see Vavel in the middle of it. A bit of chirping appeared to be directed at Brian Cole.
Another ex-Bomber came over, and officials decided enough is enough. Whatever he was saying, costly penalty to push the Bombers back further to their 12 now. Down 10, fourth quarter, Nick Dembski. Now, do we call that a reception? By the way, a fumble recovered by Ontario Wilson, but if that is a catch, significant for the long streak of Nick Dembski with at least one catch going back, 83 games coming into this one, and he's slow to get up, making an adjustment there, but we're wondering, he still didn't have a catch tonight.
Yeah, and the streak is extended as Dembski coming across the formation, left to right on your screen, catches the shovel pass.
Now, I know what you're thinking. That goes down as a pass, but it does, and it does extend his streak to 84 games now. Now, to be fair to Nick Dembski, most have been of the spectacular, significant fashion. Here we are now on the 2nd and 6. Strepler running around, tries to get away. And he does for a bit. He gets it down to about the 20, but he had to get to the 22 for a first down.
Given the field position in particular, early enough here in the fourth quarter, that the Bombers are not going to gamble. You see Philip Osai, who's been noticeable on that Ticat defensive line here tonight.
Philip Osai in his first year in North Alabama, making his presence felt again. It's Brooks for the Ticats, picking it up, and a flag comes out for no yards, and the tackle, too, by Tanner Cadwalader. As you see, Brooks abruptly turned around there. As it stands, a penalty for no yards.
Winnipeg number 29, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Shoulder pad.
Yeah, got him by the shoulder pad. Ethan Ball, the rookie DB, called on the no yards, and kind of a tough call because he lost his footing, fell down. I think he knew he's within that 5-yard radius of the returner, but unfortunately, because he had slipped and fallen down, he didn't have an opportunity to back up and get out of that area before the returner got the ball.
So the Ticats still up by 10. Fourth quarter, and just shy of midfield for Bo Levi Mitchell and Greg Bell. Another great night for Bell. Still running hard. He gets it inside the 40 as night began with a touchdown catch, a 7-yarder after the interception, coming off a game where he ran for over 150, and Bell continues to rack up some yardage in the ground.
And one of the things that stands out to me about Greg Bell in these last couple of games is the element of patience in the way he runs the football, kind of letting that blocking scheme fully develop before he turns on the jets and attacks a hole.
He's close to 100 yards in total offense. 16 touches now, 112, over that. And on the ground, 63. And can add to that total of rushing. Or they just updated that. That was 81 yards coming into that carry. So, yeah, like Brady Oliveira having an impressive night running the football.
And the Tiger Cats really seem to have a renewed sense of confidence in their run game after riding that to victory a week ago.
Second and 4 after another solid pickup by Bell. Here we go again. Why not?
not just about the success that they're having with the run game, but also, you know, the reverse of what we talked about for Winnipeg, maybe having to get away from the run a little bit here in the fourth quarter. For the Hamilton Tiger Cats, with a 2-possession lead, if they can gain yards running the football, keep that clock moving, to slow things down offensively, keeping the ball out of the Bombers' hands, that's big. Eat up their time here.
15 carries, 96 yards for Bell. Here we go again. Finds some room. You say hesitates, but makes it pay for him as he works his way through the hole and up around 100 yards. Might be past it now. Jordan Younger, the defensive coordinator for Winnipeg, and a big challenge here, and he is indeed over 100 now. Another good pickup on first down, 2nd and 3 for Hamilton.
Back-to-back 100-yard games for running back Greg Bell, his first 2 such games of this 2025 season.
And had, in his first season in the CFL last year, had 1 all season long. So, yeah, back-to-back. The 156 last week in Montreal and 103 and still counting as he gets another touch. Why not? Jaden Woodby coming in backside to take him down. New Bomber linebacker. And that makes it 3rd and short. So a big tackle there by Woodby as they were looking to move the sticks again.
An important stop here for Winnipeg is and a successful Hamilton field goal would keep the Tiger Cats lead to 13 points, so still a 2-possession game.
This time 23 yards away for Leggio. Perfect on the night. They had a 13-point lead earlier in this half. And they have a 13-point lead again past the midway point of the fourth quarter. 7:01 on the clock. A whole lot of Greg Bell on that drive. Hamilton in charge, up 13. The NFL season is back, and TSN is your front row seat to every game all season long with a 4-month pass for $69.99. Subscribe at tsn.ca/subscribe/NFL. Now, offer ends September 30th. Terms apply.
What are the terms, Rod?
It's too long to read right now. But I will explain it all to you afterwards. You got an hour or two. Terms and conditions. Strebler slips as he drops back. In an empty backfield in Verisek, Devin Verisek, the rookie middle linebacker, came in, as did Philip Osai, and both of them are still down. Little collision there, meeting at the quarterback, and the Ticats pick up the sack to push it back to the Winnipeg 31, but Verisek is still down. And drafted 2nd overall in the CFL in 2025, getting attention from the training staff.
Well, big play defensively for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Free man, Devin Verisek comes in off the edge. Chris Strevler loses his footing as he tries to plant, look to step up in the pocket there. Giving Verisek a split-second edge, getting to the quarterback. Wraps him up, and then a little bit of a collision there with his teammate Philip Osai coming from the other side.
And Osai had been slow to get up as well, but did, and just the attention now on their rookie linebacker with the card coming out, Devin Verisek. Drafted 2nd out of the University of Windsor earlier this year and behind Calgary's Damien Alford. And a spectacular rookie season, getting the start in the middle of that Tiger Cat defense. Had an interception for a touchdown against Montreal, and against the Argos in the Labor Day Classic, picked up a punt that was blocked by Tyler Ternowski and took it in for a touchdown. But concern now for the health and well-being of rookie linebacker Devin Verisek now.
Yeah, just again clipped up high by a teammate coming the other direction here. Verasek from Windsor stayed home. Was sold on the idea of trying to help rebuild that Lancers program under head coach Jean-Paul Cercelli. Played a big role in the resurgence of the Lancers in 2024. There's another guy who once started as a rookie linebacker for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
I was going to say, and that's an uncommon thing. And to tie into Ted Gavaya, we talked about all the great moves by Hamilton's general manager, Gavaya, who sadly passed away of cancer earlier today. But the drafting as well, all the additions, and starting with Devin Verasek in their draft room, and what a great pick that has turned out to be. Of course, right now, just the concern for the health of Devin Verasek. It just, we've seen these moments times before in a physical, tough sport like football. Never easy to see. Uniting all teams in their concern.
And the hope always is that it's not too serious, and that this is a case of all precautions being taken as you have to in these situations. But as you said, always very concerning nonetheless for players on both sides to see what is one of their brothers down for an extended period.
Of course, in even tonight, talk about the unity between the Bombers and the Ticats and their grief over the loss of Ted Gavaya. But here with injuries too, and you've seen this many times, that everybody is affected in their concern for a player who is hurt. Continues to get attention now with the cart coming on, and training staff, medical staff, understandably being very careful right now.
You can see the Ticat teammates and their concern just kind of gradually inching closer and closer, just trying to get some information for themselves on what's happening down there.
Was seen removing his helmet earlier. Obviously a very good sign. It was a different look at what happened on this sack of Chris Strevler with Verasek coming in.
Yeah, he's got Strevler wrapped up and just... You had Osei coming the other way.
So good to see the movement, removing his helmet. You saw Philip Osei, his teammate, as you say, coming over and making contact with his head.
Yeah. Yeah, so again, any sort of injury in that area, any sort of concern, you're going to take every precaution here, as you're seeing with the Hamilton Tiger Cats medical staff.
As applause begins, as Devin Verasek taken to the cart to be examined further. And all the precaution and all of his Tiger Cats teammates coming on to wish him well. Always a great sign. The thumbs up from Verasek to say taking precautions, and understandably talking about head and neck area, just to make sure, and off, of course, to get further examination. And your point's well taken, seeing that shot of Mike O'Shea earlier. Just thinking too how uncommon it is for someone, a Canadian kid out of a Canadian university to start his rookie season in the middle of a defense, as O'Shea, as you pointed out, did.
And Mike O'Shea, in fact, was actually a guy who moved into the middle as his career went on. He started off as a weak side linebacker. A part of that I would suggest had to do with the labeling of certain positions as Canadian and American positions in the era.
So we resume now, 6:34 in the clock, 13-point Tiger Cat lead. Bomber football. Chris Strevler, after the sack, drops back. He sets up a screen for Nick Dembski, frustrating night for that Winnipeg offense overall does continue. Falls incomplete. 3rd and 18. Bombers have to punt.
And a Winnipeg team offensively that has some big play threats of its own, but you know, you look tonight, they really haven't been able to push the ball deep, haven't been able to get any chunk type plays in terms of offensive yardage.
Jamison Sheehan gets this one off, taken by Phillip Brooks, moving around. Good tackle coming back. Michael Griffin, another one of the talented special teamers for the Bombers, takes him down, and Greg Bell, what a night he's having. Over 100 yards rushing again for the 2nd straight game. And the running game for Hamilton, of course, looms as being more prominent, you'd have to think, given the score and the amount of time left.
Yeah, just over 6 minutes to go here. Bell having some of his best runs of the ball game in their most recent possessions.
Coming up later, BC Place in Vancouver. The rematch between the Lions and the Ottawa Red Blacks. Red Blacks and Argos at 4 and 8. Still not out of it in the East. Excuse me, the Lions at 6 and 7, and the Red Blacks at 4 and 8 with Toronto.
Everybody remaining in the playoff picture as you see Kenny Lawler to the top of your screen, coming back to catch the hitch. Dexter Lawson blew a tire here. Ticats very comfortable in a 2nd and short here.
On the 2nd and 3, Bo Levi Mitchell calling out the plays. And the Hamilton 44, Bell again adding to his totals. Griffin, the nickel linebacker, hops on him, but not before another first down. 5:17 and counting here in the 4th quarter.
This newfound balance in the Hamilton Tiger Cat offense. These last couple of weeks, not just relying on the arm of Bo Levi Mitchell and big plays to their arsenal of receivers,
which they had so much of earlier this season. But yeah, last week in Montreal, over only 191 yards passing. Lots of running by Bell. That one going out to Tim White, right along the line of scrimmage, and takes off after the catch, gets it inside the Winnipeg 50. Another first down for Hamilton.
Yeah, and I would contend that the passes that you're seeing Hamilton throw here, Tim White lining up in the slot and catching this hitch. Kenny Lawler doing a good job blocking out in front of him that time. I mean, this to me is essentially an extension of the run game. The high percentage completions, low risk football, put the ball in the hands of your playmakers and let them get what they can.
Saying earlier that Scott Milanovich said he didn't think that was an ugly win at all last week in Montreal. And Mike O'Shea has said the same thing, too. Those two coaches of similar minds, that you take what you can get. And it isn't always pretty, at least to fans who want the spectacular 400- or 500-yard passing games and big plays. Sometimes you got to use defense. You got to grind it out along the ground, whatever it takes. Hamilton's getting that tonight off the turnovers, too. And Bell finds a hole, tripped up by Reddick. Another solid run by Greg Bell. And another first down for Hamilton.
Yeah, and this may be the first sign we're starting to see of that Winnipeg defense maybe feeling a little bit fatigued with Hamilton throwing the run game at them a lot. People having trouble getting off blocks.
That's their last time
and Greg Bell reaping the rewards of that.
So the timeout called. Look at these rushing numbers with 2 going over 100 now. Oliveira went 137 in a victory in Montreal 3 weeks ago, followed up by, much talked about, 5 carries only for 24 yards in the Labor Day Classic, which turned out to be a close game in Regina, but many had wondered why they didn't run the ball more, and they just felt it wasn't available against that Saskatchewan defense. Had a more productive outing last week in the Banjo Bowl, but still 13, despite Oliveira having over 100 yards rushing. And the Winnipeg 34 now. Back to closer now, I would think, to what he had last week in Montreal.
Again, hitting the final third of the season, Greg Bell maybe starting to set his sights on some of the league leaders a little bit here.
Well, you got James Butler with BC, Dedrick Mills with Calgary, and then look at the game last week that James Rankin had, or Justin Rankin, excuse me, with Edmonton against Calgary. And he'll be against the Argos, Edmonton, and Justin Rankin against the Argos tomorrow here on TSN. Caught, Tim White at the 10. And a relentless drive here by Hamilton to set up a first and goal.
Play it safe, and then not going deep, but a little more vertical here. Tim White work in the middle of the field. And just to get inside, turn that into a big play for the Cats.
Right down to the 7. Their opening possession started at the Winnipeg 7 after the interception by Jamal Peters. One play later, Greg Bell had a catch and was in the end zone. First and goal, Bomber 7. Bell, the carry, inside the 5, touchdown! One play later again, Bell finds the end zone, and this time on a running play, as the Cats are really in charge now.
Very authoritative scoring drive put together there by the Hamilton Tiger Cats, imposing their will a little bit. Now in the fourth quarter, Greg Bell leading the way.
2 7-yard touchdowns for Greg Bell. One a reception, and that one running after a 7-play, 73-yard drive this time around that took 3.5 minutes off the clock. And Bell's total, 21 carries, over 130 yards rushing now. A couple of touchdowns, as mentioned, one on the ground, one in the air.
Bell again with that patience and terrific change of direction. Cutting laterally on dimes to make his way in.
Milanovich's Ticats had a slower start to the season, losing in Calgary and at home to Saskatchewan in a close one. They were 0-2, and then they reeled off 6 straight wins, get to 6-2, and then they dropped 3 in a row, including one against the Argos on Labor Day when they thought they had it in the bag with just seconds to go before winning in Montreal last week. It's Michael Griffin, the injured Bomber, getting some attention as he gingerly walks off the field. But yeah, the Ticats now on the verge of winning 2 straight after dropping those 3, and still in first in the East Division.
And the Bombers, meanwhile, have had their own unique kind of pattern to the season. Win 3, lose 3, win 1, lose 1, win 2, lose 2. In danger of breaking a pattern that they didn't want to see broken here, as that would have had them due to win this game.
On the verge of falling below 500. On the 2-point try, after the touchdown intended for Tim White, it remains 32-13. They're trying to make it 21. Instead, it remains a 19-point game, but still very much in control in the final minutes. Team Ted night in Hamilton. An emotional day, an emotional night here at Hamilton Stadium, thinking of Ted Gavaya, their general manager, who passed away of cancer earlier today. A day when the 2 CFL teams, at least in recent memory, most important in his football career. He did have some time with the Argos with Scott Milanovich and Michael O'Shea, winning a Grey Cup there with Toronto over a decade ago, but most recently with Winnipeg and moving over to Hamilton as GM. Fingerprints all over these 2 organizations, to be sure. Trey Babel on the return. throws, 2 interceptions in the first half. Jamal Peters on his first throw, and later Deshaun Amos leading to Hamilton touchdowns. 4-man rush. Strebler trying to buy more time with the legs. Rolling out, taking off, and a good pickup as he just heads out of bounds near the first down marker.
Yeah, Strebler on a mission to get to that first down marker. Obviously a guy who's never been afraid of a little bit of contact. There you see Ryan Baker, UBC product, into the game in place of the injured Devin Verasek at middle linebacker. Baker played a lot of snaps at that spot last year, actually, as the Ticaps were sort of up against it ratio-wise after the unexpected preseason retirement of Jordan Williams.
1st and 10. He did get the first down. Throwing that time, it's Dylan Mitchell. So they're in the Ticat half of the field, down to around the Hamilton 51. There's Baker. You mentioned time last year. A lot of time in the middle of that Tiger Cat defense. They run tempo, going again in a 2nd and 3. Trying to set up a draw to Oliveira. It looked like instead Strebler keeps it. Gets another first down on the ground, but it did look like there was a bit of a miscommunication with him and his running back.
Yeah, if that was the case, terrific reaction there by Strebler to turn it into a positive play. Knows where the play is designed to go.
That time goes to Oliveira, who is greeted right away. Baker is there. And the 2nd down is coming up. 2:09 to go.
You just get the feeling, given the circumstances here, at some point, Winnipeg's got to throw the ball down the field.
I haven't had that deep ball. That's Ontario Wilson underneath. You're right, inside the 30, but the clock's the enemy now, too. 2:01 and down 19 points. Julian Hauser had a big day in Montreal last week. Couple of sacks. The sacks leader. Lining up again. 1st and 10. Strebler has time. Tries to just check it down to Oliveira, but he misses him. And we get a 2nd and 10 coming up.
And it Strebler almost seemed just as happy to take the incompletion and get the clock stopped. Meanwhile, Miles Fox, slow to get up for the Cats.
Just a correction on the Lions, of course, 5-7 after their loss in Ottawa last week, and they get the rematch against the Red Blacks at 4-8. So Ottawa and Toronto at 4-8, last in the East. Montreal at 5-7 tomorrow, taking on Saskatchewan, and Hamilton looking to improve now to 8-5, and clearly on top of the East Division. While Winnipeg is facing going below 500, 6-7, 3rd place in the West, but with BC and Edmonton hot on their heels now, especially the Elks, the way they've had it going lately, winning 4 of their last 5. So the East Division right now, if you include what would currently be the crossover, Winnipeg still in 3rd place, BC, Edmonton, both with records ahead of Toronto and Ottawa. So you have to think it looms pretty big for the Edmonton Elks taking on the Argos tomorrow.
No question, a couple of big games when you factor in that BC-Ottawa game tonight as well. Everyone's in the mix.
Red Blacks trying to make sure of that with a comeback victory with Dustin Crum last week in Ottawa. Here's Strebler throwing, his receiver slipped Oliveira just as the ball was coming in. It is that kind of night for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers as they're now facing a 3rd and 10.
And no precipitation in the course of this ball game, but we've seen a few times players just losing their footing. Most recently here, Oliveira out in the flat, trying to throw the brakes on and just can't.
Now 3 down territory now, of course, down 19. Under 2 minutes to go, they got to go for it on a 3rd and 10. And 1 touchdown on the night to Carrick Wheatball in the first half. Here's Strebler with time. The throw down to the 5 and caught. Ontario Wilson with that. And a 1st and goal coming up now for Winnipeg.
Yeah, time of the essence, but a big throw there from Chris Strebler. Set the Bombers up in close.
On the first and goal. Back over it quickly, running it. Into the end zone for the touchdown is Strevler. Calls his number again. And Winnipeg, with their second touchdown on the night, still a lot of work to do, but 1:36 on the clock. They get 6 points closer.
And Bombers still with a 13-point deficit. Try and go for 2 here, bring it down to 11.
Which would be a, well,
touchdown.
2-score game regardless, but you're right. Touchdown with a 2-point conversion and a field goal. They can do it.
Yeah, that's why Hamilton was going for 2 at the other end, trying to get it to 21.
It was a 9-play, 68 drive in only a minute 6. That's all they took off the clock. They've had to work and hurry here. They're looking for 2. Into the end zone to the left for Nick Dembski, who's got it.
Great grab.
Dembski, and a very quiet night by his standards. He didn't extend his reception streak until the second half on a little shovel pass. But gets one there in the end zone to put 2 more on the board.
And nice touch here from Chris Strevler on the ball, working with limited space in that back corner of the end zone, puts it just over top of Destin Talbert. Dembski makes a play for his quarterback. Good concentration.
The leading receiver for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers gets a couple more points on the board. 1:36 on the clock. And a 32-21 game, 11-point difference. You see Mike Miller, the special teams coordinator, one of the great special teams players of all time in the CFL, and discussing strategy now with the onside kick coming up here for Winnipeg.
Ticats will deploy their hands team.
So a different test for the skill set of Sergio Castillo, known for his booming kicks. This time needs a short one to allow the Bombers a chance to get the ball right back with barely a minute and a half to go in the fourth quarter. Hands team out. Ball is up. At least 10 yards. It is touched, and Winnipeg does get it. It rolled back, and Nick Hallett back in the Winnipeg lineup with a big play there to give the Bombers a chance to get a little closer in this game.
Yeah, Hallett, terrific job with the recovery on that one, but Nick Dembski out there on that short kick unit did a terrific job to disrupt Kenny Lawler trying to make the catch. They've got to get Dembski blocked up. They don't. He gets a hand in there. What you're trying to do when you're Hamilton is get everyone blocked up so that the receiver in behind can make the catch cleanly, unobstructed, unaffected. But Dembski manages to come through, get a hand and a body in there, make Kenny Lawler's life difficult. Winnipeg comes up with it.
So last time out, Bombers needed a minute 9 to get a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. Be no small feat to do it again. They got to work fast. Down 11. And a flag is out now.
Hands right here, quick!
Upon review by the replay center, we have illegal interference on Winnipeg number 10. He contacted the receiver prior to the ball. It is a 10-yard penalty, and we're going to re-kick.
Well, you talked about the disruption. I guess that's the question they looked at. Was that disruption?
Yeah, does he run into him? What I see is Dembski get a hand on the ball, but they're saying, yeah, the body contact is there first. So we're going to wind it back and do it again.
So they'll try it again. 1:34 now on it. There's Dennis McNair. his hands team out there again. And another shot at securing the ball. And if Ticats can get it this time, could effectively put this game away. But Bombers take the penalty. Castillo puts it back to the 20, and they'll try this again.
See if the Bombers take the same tack here with this kick.
They go the other way, to the right, and it's knocked out of bounds alertly there by Shamar Bridges, but we got another flag out. Back to the left side, the original side, the kick before that direction that it went, away from the ball this time. That's where the flag was. It hands team on both sides just in case, and Bridges knocking that one out of bounds. What's the penalty here?
And it was interesting because, I mean, you could hear the Winnipeg sideline.
Offside. Winnipeg number 99. This is a 5-yard penalty. We're going to re-kick.
So Cameron Lawson, they are.
Hamilton doesn't want to re-kick.
No, they just want the ball.
This Winnipeg 99 was offside. That penalty is declined.
There you go.
Hamilton's going to take the football.
A moment of confusion there over what the Ticats wanted, and certainly they wouldn't want Winnipeg to try it a third time, see if they can get the possession. They declined the penalty. Their ball, 1:33 on the clock, and a great place on the field to put this game to bed. At the Winnipeg 36, you know who, Greg Bell, he takes a hard hit too coming in. Middle linebacker Tony Jones after a short pickup.
What are we alerting here? Field goal?
Yeah, we'll see if the Tiger Cats seem content to run this one out. Bell to the sidelines. Former Bomber Johnny Augustine in to spell him in the backfield.
Greg Bell, last two games, 293 yards rushing. To the 156 in Montreal, and he's just about done that again tonight. 2nd and 8 coming up now. 1:08 on the clock. Harder to come by now. That's Johnny Augustine. Talk about former Blue Bombers. And Augustine's another one to go to Hamilton.
Yeah, a bit of a homecoming for Johnny Augustine from down the road. Welland, Ontario. Notre Dame College. Same high school as former Ticat Chris Van Zyl, if I recall correctly.
Former Ticat and Argo before that. So, 3rd down and 5. And just choosing to turn it over on downs. Winnipeg football now, but just 37 seconds on the clock. Pretty academic now in a 2-score game. The smile from Bo Levi Mitchell with what certainly appears to be another victory coming up here for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
And it's another one where there won't be gaudy numbers for the Ticats quarterback, but another solid overall offensive performance to get things done. A game that's been aided by a couple of big turnovers, touchdowns off of turnovers. In this ball game, interceptions by Jamal Peters and Deshaun Amos.
Final seconds of this ball game, shorter pass to Carrick Wheatfall, tackled there by Kyler Fisher. And this is a year after Winnipeg swept the season series against Hamilton, by the way. This is the first meeting of the season, and looking to go the Ticats' way. Under half a minute to go. Strevler on the 2nd and 2 being pursued by Philip Osai. And a deep shot down for Dembski, who has it. Deshaun Amos was right there. And another completion for the veteran Nick Dembski.
And terrific throw on the run. And Dembski kind of outstretching Deshaun Amos to get to that football along the sideline.
Well, it comes at a time where it's hard to imagine that play ultimately mattering, but that was a heck of a play. Strebler and Dembski. That catch. 18 seconds now. 32-21. Strebler down inside the 15. It is caught. The more valuable time off. We're down to 12 seconds now. That's Wilson. Pokey Wilson with it.
And Philip Osai has been a busy man tonight. Slow to get up here.
We'll go for 2.
Our director, Franklin Rubenstein, points out there could still be some very interested viewers in this scoring outcome coming up here. I'll let you fill in the blank there.
Yes.
With Philip Osai down.
Levi Mitchell, however it unfolds here in the final minutes, happy to have his Tiger Cats back to their winning ways.
Yeah.
Posting
and
a couple in a row.
And getting back to what we talked about off the top, just a very difficult day. This was planned all along to have Team Ted night, knowing how ill the Ted Gavaya, the general manager, had been and has been several months, and still doing the job, by the way, to the amazement of so many, how vigilant he's been, how hard he fought, and passing away this morning. Dedicating their efforts to their general manager, Ted Gavaya. And very close to the Bombers, players and staff as well for his time with Winnipeg. Strebler, 6 seconds. And in and out of the hands of Ontario Wilson. Coverage there from Jamal Peters. I don't know if he got his hand on it, but at the very least a distraction. And 3 seconds to go. As this is just about done.
Yeah, so one final shot for the Bombers here to see if they can at least cut this margin.
Could be the final play. Winnipeg, for what it's worth, going to look for the end zone again. Strebler. Flushed out. Running now. Takes off. Trying to get to the end zone. Is tackled before it. And that's it. The Hamilton Tiger Cats win again. And this time, they win it for 10. Handshakes. 2 men who worked with Ted Gavaya in Toronto. And Mike O'Shea, of course, in Winnipeg. And Scott Milanovich here in Hamilton. A tough day for the Ticats. It ends with a victory over the Bombers. Part 2 of our doubleheader is coming up in Vancouver.
All right, so the Hamilton Tiger Cats now have won 2 games in a row after that heartbreaking loss to the Argos, but that was in the past.
Can we talk about that being a little bit of sweat for anybody who might have had action on that game?
How many people had?
You and Director Franklin.
Explain that. Because the spread in that game was at 7 or 6.5. So if Winnipeg scores there, they cover the spread. So anyone who bet there, that last play and Strebler getting tackled on the 1.
This is what the people want to hear.
Yeah, and it's the reality is it is. The reality is what the people want to hear.
Well, in last week's win for the Ticats, it was split down the middle. 28 pass attempts, 28 rushes. Today, it was 28 pass, 27 run. And Scott Milanovich just kind of said, we do with whatever we get. It's working for us. And this balanced attack, I think, is bad news for the rest of the CFL.
Yeah, without a doubt. They got Greg Bell going. last 2 games over 300 yards. And it's taking a lot of pressure off of Bo Levi. You know, him being an older quarterback, I'm sure he doesn't want to drop back, 30, 40 times, have to throw the ball. It puts a lot of pressure on him, puts a lot of pressure on the offensive line. But now that they have a running game, now that they have a balanced attack, opposing defensive coordinators are struggling right now how they're going to stop this team. So good for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. These Winnipeg Blue Bombers, they're in the bond right now. They're 6-7. The 2 teams behind them, Edmonton and BC, if they win their games this weekend, I mean, there's a 3-way tie, and then they're going to have some problems.